I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. Because it's Monday. Monday, 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 Monday. Wow, 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 wow. It has been a good day. Hey, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. To you, and you. Wherever you are, whoever you are. I'd like to say hi to my listeners, my viewers. It is Monday, Monday, Monday. I am your producer and presenter, Lady D. Denise Gomez, right here on Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM. Are you ready for the Monday drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside? Here on the platform, Inside the Zone with Lady D. Denise Gomez. How you all doing? How una do? Thank you for joining me as always. What would I do without you? I'd be here just by myself, all alone, wondering, anybody gonna see me? Anybody gonna talk to me today? You know, that kind of thing. Yes, but I'm in my space and you're in my space. Whatever happened to MySpace, by the way? The other day I thought of MySpace. I'm like, MySpace, where are you? Facebook came and make a out of here. Facebook came and just moved MySpace out of the way. You all remember MySpace? Those of you who started out that way? 24 minutes after 5 o'clock. Inside the Zone, the Monday Drive, broadcasting on CaribbeanVibesRadio.com, signradio.net, right here on 104.5, 101.7 FM. Coming up in a minute, the Monday Beat, chasing the Monday Blues out of here with great music. Voices, the intellectual voice that has everyone talking. The late Prime Minister Michael Manley's 97th birthday was December 10. Just in case you didn't know. From the archives, I air an interview with him in 1976 on political violence in Jamaica. Michael, you were ahead of your time. A Jamaica ting follows right after. Food Sweetsa, the jerk chicken queen of the Bronx. She's a street food icon. Keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts comes up at 6 p.m. alongside Chris Wilby. Community life, real stories of people's experiences, culture, and concerns as we see them. This afternoon's topic, women and red flags in relationships. News reports of their deaths are more frequent. Why are they suffering in silence? How do you believe families and communities can intervene? Because sometimes we know. We do know. Join me this afternoon. It's now 26 minutes after 5. What's our telephone number to the Linkage Radio station? 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. If you're tuning in via the YouTube channel, Inside of the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez, share it with someone you know. Say, hey, the show called Inside the Zone is on. Join me, no man. Join me. And I'm ready. Happy birthday to you. You're celebrating your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. It's somebody's wedding anniversary. Yeah, somebody got married on this date several years ago or just last month. Who knows these things? Happy anniversary. And my most favorite, a baby was born somewhere in the world today. We welcome life. Hey everyone, how na do? Are you ready? It's, of course, what I call today my Ladies Music Monday. And of course, in keeping, I like to take you back, right? It's good to go back, nothing wrong with that. Let me take you back because it's my Ladies Music Monday. And of course, I want to welcome everyone to the show. And while I am busy doing what I'm doing, trying to entertain you and to give you the best programming right here on Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM. I just want to say hello, hello, and to say, you know what? It's going to be a good Monday because you and I are keeping each other's company. Yeah. It's my Ladies Music Monday. What a way to start off. Hey, everyone. Welcome to you. It is a Monday drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. You're just joining me. Welcome. Want to big up my YouTubers in my YouTube channel. Aldith AG is back. Aldith, Pat, Ryan. Who else is here now? Yeah, I'm seeing names, but I'm not seeing Andrea. Andrea says reporting for duty. Okay, Andrea, I'm ready. I'm glad you're on with me. 5:33 p.m. Don't forget our telephone number is 914-600-4228. 914-600-4228. My name is Denise Lady D. Gomez. Welcome, everyone. Want to just let you know this past Saturday morning was good. I had Jennifer Douglas, aka Miss Jen, and we were live on our YouTube channel and Facebook. And what an interaction it was. What a segment it was. It was nice. We chatted, we laughed, and stuff. So welcome to you. It is now time for Voices, the intellectual voice that has everyone talking. December 10 was the late Michael Manley's birth date. And I just wanted to take you back very briefly to an interview that was conducted with him back in 1976. And there are so many things that are still relevant today. You know, Michael, how he was articulate already. May his soul rest in peace. Welcome to Voices.
I think that one has to distinguish two clear things. Firstly, the city of Kingston, like many cities with problems of unemployment and poverty, has always had a tendency to violence of the kind that you would find certainly in many North American cities, set and off balance and that sort of thing. And definitely, therefore, there is a political element has crept into the situation.
Well, why would the opposition party, I presume you're referring to the opposition party, there are only two parties running.
Yes.
And why would they go to tactics of that nature? Don't you think it would harm them more than do them any good?
Well, I think that the whole thing, you see, has been, I think, rather cleverly managed, in that our political tradition has always involved, again, a very marginal element of violence, although it used to be in the old days just fist fights and the occasional brick and things of that sort. And recently what has happened, as I say, is to introduce into this tendency a certain element that I think is borrowed from the underworld. And I think this has been done by certain elements quite deliberately to cause a certain panic in the society, to give the impression that the government's not really in control. And of course, sometimes, as happens when the violence starts on one side, you get reaction from the other side. So in the end, you get a confused situation in which the average citizen may think, well, it just seems to be both of them at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that one gets a cloak under which really to work the plan.
In driving around Kingston, we noticed a lot of signs saying Castro go home or CIA go home. There seems to be a Cuban-American involvement in this. Now, how much influence do these countries have on this political scene at this time?
They don't, neither country has any general influence in the Jamaican political scene. What has happened is that because the Jamaican government has had a policy of friendly relations with Cuba, very like the Canadian government, who have always had a tradition of friendly relations with Cuba. We have been charged by the more right-wing extremist elements of our opposition with all sorts of propaganda in what has really been an orchestrated communist smear tactic. Very unfair. We are not communists. We are very much a sort of social democrat group, democratic socialist group. And these smear tactics have been worked, which accounts for the Castro go home kind of slogan. And then, of course, there has been a certain tension in certain elements in the United States of America about our relations with Cuba, as indeed there is tension in America towards Canada's attitude towards Cuba, as you know, is not approved of by the State Department. And so somehow all this has got escalated into a series of charges and countercharges.
Well, is there some financial involvement, say, from the Cubans to your government and from the Americans to the opposition?
No. Well, I can't speak for the Americans with the opposition. There's no financial involvement between the Cubans and us, none whatsoever.
The Cubans are investing here, though. They're like building a school.
Well, that really was a gesture of solidarity. It's very much a, you know, there's a new thing emerging in the Third World, where Third World countries often do things for each other on a cooperative basis in a manner that I think is quite new in world experience and very interesting. We, for instance, are helping them with no charge at all with some things that we think we are quite good at, like tourism. We send teams for no charge to help them organize their new tourist industry. And also we have been one of the countries here who has, I think, shown courage in standing up for Cuba's right to be accepted as a normal part of the Latin American family. And I think that they appreciate this, and as a gesture of solidarity, offered to build this school as a sort of reciprocal gesture, which of course became a subject of propaganda.
Yes, why would they be so touchy, though, for people to take pictures of a project like that?
Ah, well, you see, because they've been, the fact that they're building this school has been the subject of a lot of unfavorable comment in the American press. Right-wing elements in Jamaica have been very nasty about it. And they, after all, you know, have a very unfortunate experience with the CIA, as I'm sure you know. And they have had their own embassy. Yes, in recent times, for example, their embassy has been attacked twice here by extremist right-wing elements. And I think that this tends to make them very sensitive and therefore touchy, as you said, touchy about the situation and very careful. And, you know, with the state of emergency on, they would be particularly, I think, cautious at this time.
What about Canadian investment in Jamaica? I understand it's about $300 million. And with the swing toward socialism or perhaps eventual nationalization, what sort of situation are they in now? Is it a precarious thing for them, or?
No, we have very good relations with Canadian capital generally in Jamaica. We've found them to be good corporate citizens. The banks, by and large, cooperate with the government very well. We really haven't had any problems in that. And with one of your major investments, of course, which is the Alcan operation here, we, as you know, are in the middle of a major revision of our whole bauxite strategy, because this is our critical basic resource. It's the one really big thing we have going for us, apart from tourism. We have our people, we have bauxite, and we have tourism, and we have sugar. And our negotiations with the Alcan group to work out a new relationship between them and the Jamaica government are going very well, and I think are getting quite near to an amicable settlement.
One of the, I should have asked this along with the first part of the interview, but one of the reasons I got for the, if I may call it terror and unrest here, was the unemployment factor. And the fires and things that have been going on in a very poor area. Do you feel that perhaps it's because of these poor people and the unemployment rate that has...
No, absolutely not. Absolutely nothing to do with it at all. What that does is to create a tense situation. But the actual terrorism is manipulated. And it really is very easy to demonstrate this, because some of the problems that we have had have been small groups of gunmen who operate from quite expensive Toyota cars. Now, when you own a Toyota car, and the three of you work from that, I don't think you really are poor. But what the poverty does, as I say, is to create an atmosphere that can be exploited and manipulated by anybody who is ruthless. Where the unemployment is concerned, for example, with all the tremendous world inflationary pressures that have hit a little country like Jamaica so hard, and now with the economic recession that hit us so hard late last year and earlier this year, in spite of all that, we've actually reduced unemployment slightly. Not as much as we would have liked, but we have actually pulled it down a couple of percentage points.
Do you feel that these poor people then in Trenchtown and other areas are being used?
Oh yes, as far as this is concerned, there's no question that they're being used. No question at all.
In regard to terrorism on the island then? how
Well,
do
it's
you-
not really terrorism on the island.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. What about the tourist situation?
No.
Is it safe for tourists? to come?
Absolutely safe. It is, although it's a very unpleasant situation, it is our good luck, in a sense, that all of this has been restricted to the urban ghetto area, an area where we are pushing massive housing developments right now within our very limited resources. We really are working very hard and building thousands of houses a year now for the poor. But it's a huge backlog to overtake. Can't be overtaken in 3-5 years. It's a huge task. But the violence itself and the manipulation of it is very much a phenomenon in the western part of Lower Kingston, where the bad concentration of poverty is.
The emergency powers, politically, will it help you or harm you?
Well, we haven't really thought of it in those terms, because basically our objective in the state of emergency is to do with the state of the society, its confidence, and its economy. The violence was beginning to break the confidence of the Jamaican people in their own society, and therefore having a very bad effect on the economy. And we are determined by the use of this admittedly extreme measure to create an atmosphere in which the Jamaican people begin to recover their self-confidence in their society and begin, therefore, to act in a dynamic and buoyant way in their economy. That's really what our objectives are.
Is it working?
We think it's working very well. We're very pleased with the results.
What are your chances in the next election?
We'll win.
Are you sure about that?
Well, let me put it this way, to say that you're sure always sounds arrogant. What I really feel is that, we have done a tremendous amount for the poor, for the people, in spite of the pressures. We've got a very powerful organization. We've got very solid mass support. We're very strong among small farmers and groups of that sort up in the hinterland, actually the part of Jamaica the tourist doesn't get to see. And we feel that the people understand us and we understand the people.
That was an interview done with Michael Manley, former Prime Minister, late Prime Minister. And his birthday would have been December 10. And so I thought I should just, pull something from the archive and to have you hear his voice, what his mandate was for the nation. If you ask Denise, Michael Manley was so ahead of his time, and the nation weren't ready. His counterparts were not ready for him. And so there was a lot of tug and war. But there are some things that Andrew has snapped out of that bag, wouldn't you say? Voices, the intellectual voice that has everyone talking. Good afternoon, 5:46 p.m. I'm always mixing and mingling my features with music. So good afternoon to you. It is my Ladies Music Monday, 914-600-4228, the telephone number to call. Have you just popped on to the YouTube channel? I'd like to say hi. If you're popping on, popping off, well, while you're doing so, don't forget to share the link with someone. And Patricia says, are Jamaican people full of mix-up? They rejected Michael Manley's ideas, but embraced the Chinese, who seems to be buying up everything in Jamaica. Michael Manley was a prophet. I hear you, Pat. Strong, strong words. Thank you, Pat, for your comments. Let's take some music. I love Kelly Clarkson, right? And I love Pink.
Right from the start,
Meet Pink if you haven't met her before.
my heart, and I, your willing victim. I let you see the parts of me that weren't all that pretty, and with every touch you fixed them. Now you've been talking in your sleep. Oh, things you never say to me. Oh, tell me that you've had enough of our love, our love. Just give me a reason, just a little bit's enough. Just a second, we're not broken.
Yeah, that's Pink featuring Nate Roos. Good afternoon, keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts right here on Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM. Hello, you're joining me, and it's perhaps your first time. You know, radio is repetitive. Did you know that? We have to keep saying the dial over, the telephone number over. We need to acknowledge those of you who are listening and watching. That's how we roll. And you might say, how they always? Yes, we have to. Because each time we are thinking that somebody just popped onto the dial. Or like I'm looking on my Facebook channel and there might be people there who are not visible, but I see the numbers. So I have to keep saying, are you just joining? If you're just joining, you know what I mean? Welcome, welcome, welcome. 914-600-4228. Keep the number safe. 914-600-4228 because keeping you in the know coming up at 6 o'clock. Right now, what am I coming with? A Jamaica ting, food, sweets, meat. The Bronx Queen, she has something for you.
I call myself a cook. You know, I don't have a formal schooling to call myself a chef. When I come in the kitchen, I feel like my own little scientist. I try to feed my customer how I feed my family.
Fausia and Company, great people. The food is excellent. Come down here to 161st Street in the Bronx to have a taste.
My name is Fauzia Abdurrahman, owner and operator of Fauzia's Heavenly Delights. I've been in business for the past 24 years. I call it a Jamaican fusion. I work with my daughter, Amina, and my husband. I'm really known for my jerk sauce. But apart from that, I carry at least 3 to 4 vegetables, 1 vegetarian entree, 2 meats, a fish or lamb.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. Have a good day.
Enjoy.
Hold it good. Okay. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Growing up in Jamaica, I stayed far from the kitchen. That was the last place you would find me. This is my own homemade jerk sauce. The main ingredient is pimento and Scotch bonnet pepper, a little garlic and onions, and this is a dry jerk that I also make, you know, to put like on top of it, and then I put some soy sauce to give it a richer, darker color. You know, authentic jerk is done on the grill, but because, you know, we're in this close part, I can't have that smoky stuff, so we have to improvise and do it in the pot. I came here, I was in college. I came not with absolutely no intention of staying, but when I was getting ready to go back, my aunt said, where are you going? You're 20 years of age. I think you should really start your life. My mom, she came to visit and she was like, you know, I think you should get into the food business. I'm like, no, Mom, I can't get into the food business. I don't know how to cook. She said, get into the food business. I'll teach you how to cook. She showed me how to do it, and we made some codfish cake, and we went out on 125th Street. We sold out and sold out early. So that's when she said, you see, it will work. I met my husband at a festival. My mom and I still trying to pack the van up. He came over and he said, somebody coming to help you? I said, no, it's just us. So he said, okay, let me help you pack up. So he helped me pack up the van. And then I would see him all the time. And then after a while, he would call and tell me, okay, this is going on or that is going on. And I would, you know, take my stuff there and vend. After a while, things got a little more serious, and that was it. Tuesday and Thursday is a lot of prepping. After I had my first job, I told my husband, let's get a food vending license. We stayed up all night. We slept in a chair. We brought 2 chairs and a blanket so we could be one of the first 100 or so to get a permit. I cashed in the insurance policy, so I had enough money to buy the cart. Okay, I'm in. Let's get the fish in, and then, you know, because time is against us. What do you think? It's too much? So we've been in the same spot for the last 24 years. My cart is parked at the corner of 161st Street in Concourse Village West. Morning, sweetheart.
I mean, Rashid, I just help my family with our food business, you know.
I guess I'm the owner-operator, but he checks me in a minute.
Oh, Fauzi is the boss. Most of the time I flow with what she says, but if it doesn't sound like it's the best way to do something, then I balance her out.
If you see where I'm going a little too left, he brings me back to the center.
My mom is the boss of like anything cooking related, anything car related, transportation related, cart related. He's like, this is what we're doing. Mom's like, okay.
I look at this as being her business, and I'm helping her with the family business.
Oh my God, this business could not run without him. Never, ever. I couldn't do it. He's the backbone of the business, really. This is vegetarian soy chicken. We have the collard greens cooking. Today we're having red lentils. Hey Jill, we're having red lentils. We're having red lentils with mushrooms and spinach. Everything is cooked on the cart, so we get there and we start cooking and grilling and doing whatever we have to do, and the food is usually ready to be served between 10:30 and 11. Food is so exciting, oh my God. To me, it could be so boring to cook the same thing over and over. The first customer was a lady, her name was Ruby, like my mom. So when she came up to the cart and she said, "What is this?" She made a big hoopla and I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Ruby." Oh, that was it. To me, that was sanctioned because my mom's name is Ruby. Grilled chicken, right? Yeah. After that, then Patrick came up, that tall fella, he came up and said, "What's going on over here?" He made a big hoopla, you know, and I was like, no, that's so loud, that's so loud.
I've been a customer of Fazia for maybe over 25 years. Matter of fact, since she's been here, I might have been her third customer.
Hey, Poppy, 1 second. Yeah, call it. Poppy, hello. I love my customers. We share so much. I've seen kids in the belly, to the stroller, to kindergarten, all the way up to college. Oh my God.
Me and the DAs were arguing how fast we get out to get online to get value. It is delicious.
Jerk chicken, right?
I've been coming here about 6 years now. Falsia's food is delicious. I stay away from fast food. If I want something close to a home-cooked meal, I come to see her.
I work on the 5th floor, and sometimes I look out the window to see if her cart is there, and if it's not, I just sometimes refuse to eat because she's the best food around. I often say I'm going to marry Fauzi.
Your change? It's funny, one of her customers made this joke that we should make a cardboard cutout of her.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant day. Customer service is half your business, really. I come with a good frame of mind when I'm getting ready to start cooking, and just hopefully that will translate into food. A lot of my customers come from the building in front of me, which is the DA's office. Some come from the Supreme Court, the 2 criminal courts is across the street, a lot of law enforcement people.
So I think it was maybe the Daily News, and they were talking about the South Bronx and how it's considered a food desert. She is able to provide fresh foods that aren't necessarily fast food or Chipotle and things like that. I honestly think that's why people have just been continuously coming back. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
All 3 of my kids, this is the only thing they know. In the summertime, I would have a card table. I would put it right there next to the card. They would color and draw and do their homework. Of course, all went out to college. My older one, he went to Howard University. The next one in line, he went to Ithaca College, and my daughter, she went to Stony Brook. Like my father said, that's the one thing that nobody can take away from you, and that's your education. I am definitely a New Yorker, 100%. I came here 40 and a half years ago with a suitcase on vacation, finding a job and working my way up, saw a vision to open my own business, sending my kids to college, and now I'm on the other end. So I'm hoping between one of my 3 kids, they will take the business and take it to the next level. You know, all I can do is hope and pray.
That's what I like about doing Inside of the Zone. I'm able to present you a feature that while you're not seeing it, it stimulates your mind, you're visualizing what it possibly could look like because you're hearing how excited she sounds because she loves what she does. And she is a yardie who just came here when she was 20 with the plan to return home. And her aunt said, where you going, stay. Eventually she got married, had children, and they have their business right down there. See what I'm talking about? Welcome, everyone. Guess who is calling me right now? My party is calling me on a Monday afternoon. He just had to wait to get some of the food before he joined me.
Lady D.
Chris Wilby.
What's happening? Good,
Monday. Me good, Chris, me good.
Hold on, we didn't just there, so I talked like a couple days ago.
So why you worried? It's yesterday. Yeah, why? What happened?
Well, I don't know. It just looked like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lord know that we business requires haste, so you can just hurry up and make you come back. That's all. We have things to do.
Yeah.
Right?
And see him so it go.
Yes.
See him so it go.
Yes. So welcome, everyone. Chris Wilby's on with me, and he's getting better every day, so we are grateful for that. And
yes.
Happy for you, Chris Wilby. Keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts. Brought to you by Cooler Runnings, Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. By the way, Chris Wilby, you missed out on Saturday morning runnings. Why?
No, man. You know, it's me I hear you up.
You were.
Oh, I notice you that ignore me.
I was so caught up.
I'm used to. Listen, I'm used to being ignored, so it don't bother me too much.
Really? Oh, dear. That is something you should be used to. You should be complaining.
Yeah. No, sir. I try not to complain,
Oh.
Because, as you say, we just keep it moving.
Keep it moving, yeah. Don't bother sit there.
But yeah, I enjoyed the show very, very much. And I sent it to my daughter. I said, you should watch this.
Yeah.
Because she loved them kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
So I sent it to her and told her, I said, you should watch this, man. I know you will enjoy it.
Yes, and I'm sure she did.
But
and Jennifer.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And Jennifer, Jennifer has been doing her cultural performances for some time, but it's not packaged right and stuff. So now she's getting in the groove of it, and I'm going to help her along. And that's what it is about. And this coming Saturday, Maxine Lyons, a.k.a. Max Poet. Max is busy up a storm, singing up tune and drop tracks and stuff. So Max will be joining me this Saturday morning. Yes. So for the holidays, I'm having live guests coming on. And, pulling out a lot of content. Yes. Content building. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, welcome, everyone. Chris and I are ready to start off the program. Welcome to you, 914-600-4228. Let's go. Keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts. Brought to you by Cooler Runnings, Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. We start off with headlines from Chris Wilby of Caribbean Vibes Radio Network.
Good afternoon to you once again, Lady D, and thank you very much. Good afternoon to all the listeners from the different networks. We start off this evening with news coming in from out of Kentucky. President Joe Biden on Monday announced he will travel to Kentucky later on this week to survey damage from tornadoes and severe storms. The president said he's working with Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear to make sure he's not in the way of recovery efforts. Biden added that the administration will work to set up federal disaster centers and will be working alongside state governments and nonprofit organizations in the storm's aftermath. The White House said Biden will travel to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, for a storm briefing and to Mayfield and Dawson Springs to survey storm damage. Biden has been regularly briefed on the storms and has spoken with Beshear multiple times since the storm. He approved a major disaster declaration in Kentucky overnight and said he would be signing an additional emergency request for Illinois at the request of the governor. On Monday, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, Federal Emergency Management Administration, and Administrator Deanne Criswell and others briefed him on the situation on the ground and how the federal government can accelerate and expand federal assistance. Beshear announced on Monday that in the wake of the disaster, there have been 64 deaths, 105 individuals remain unaccounted for. Undoubtedly, there will be more. We believe it will certainly be about 70, maybe even 80, Beshear said, adding it may be at least a week before officials have a final count. Some 28,531 customers in Kentucky remain without power, according to the Kentucky Division of Emergency Management. Asked on Monday what he was most worried about in recovery efforts, Biden said he was most concerned about peace of mind for those impacted. He added, that's what we must be. Let me read that again. I'm sorry. That's what worries me most, the uncertainty. So we just want them to know that we are going to stay as long as it takes. In addition to urgent recovery efforts and food and water distribution, Biden said he would be asking his team to set up sites for booster shots and other public health efforts as COVID-19 cases rises across the country. Later Monday afternoon, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki detailed the efforts being implemented by FEMA and the administration. She specifically highlighted that FEMA has deployed urban search and rescue teams, management assistant teams, and mobile communication operations vehicles, as well as delivered dozens of generators, 30,000 meals, 90,000 bottles of water, 4,500 blankets, 2,100 cots, and other critical commodities to Kentucky to help families in need.
8 firearms and several rounds of ammunition were seized over the weekend as police continued their heightened operational activities to increase public safety across the island. In Betheltown, Westmoreland, an unidentified man was fatally shot during a confrontation with lawmen early Saturday morning. One firearm was seized during the incident, which was reported to the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, and the Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, IPROB. Additionally, police in Clarendon seized a special .38 revolver and 3 rounds of ammunition during an operation in Ward Hill District in the parish later that morning. In the meantime, officers assigned to the St. Andrews South Police Division seized a Glock 9mm pistol and 14 rounds of ammunition on Seawood Drive, Kingston 11, during a joint police/military operation in the area on Saturday evening. One man was arrested in connection with the seizure. Later that day, about 10:15 p.m., a Browning 9mm pistol was seized in Flanker, St. James during a joint police-military operation. A premises was searched and the firearm found and one man taken into custody. About an hour later, members of a joint police-military team carried out an operation in Majesty Gardens, Kingston, when a group of men reportedly ran on seeing members of the security forces before opening fire at them. Checks were made at a premises and a .45mm pistol with 8 rounds of ammunition were found. No one was arrested, the police said. In the St. Catherine South Police Division, a Smith & Wesson pistol and 25 rounds of ammunition were seized on Sunday, December 12, following police operations on Water Lane, Old Harbour, St. Catherine. Reports are that at about 2 a.m., the police conducted a snap raid at a premises occupied by several men. The premises was searched and the firearm and ammunition found. 4 men were arrested in connection with the seizure, the police said. A second firearm was seized in Clarendon on Sunday afternoon. 1.38 revolver with 2.38 cartridges was seized in Sandy Bay in the parish, and one man taken into custody. About 9:50 p.m. over in St. James, 5 people were taken into custody following the seizure of a Glock pistol with a 10mm rounds of ammunition in Brown Lane, Granville. Reports are that during a joint police-military patrol, persons were seen standing on the roadway. Upon seeing the law enforcers, they ran. The 5 were accosted, and a search of the area resulted in the find, according to the police. The police are renewing their appeal to the public to report illegal firearms and ammunition to them. Persons may do so anonymously by calling Crime Stop at 311.
At least 1 man is dead and a firearm recovered following a shootout between law enforcers and gunmen in the community known as Akiwak in St. Andrew. Police have confirmed that the incident happened shortly after 12 p.m. on Monday. The deceased man has not yet been identified.
Police are probing the death of a carpenter in a suspected gun attack on Glasgow Road in Grange Hill, Westmoreland on the weekend. Dead is 40-year-old Glenton Buchanan of Riverside in Kingsvale, Hanover. Police say that residents alerted them to what appeared to be a motorcycle crash on Glasgow Road about 5:50 p.m. Saturday. On their arrival, the cops observed Buchanan lying on a section of the ground beside a motorcycle with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. He later succumbed to his injuries at hospital. A post-mortem is to be conducted on the body at a later date.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness reported 37 new COVID-19 cases and 3 deaths on Sunday, bringing the infection total to 91,802 and total deaths to 2,428. The new cases comprise 18 females and 18 males with ages ranging from 3 months to 88 years. The cases were recorded in St. Anne, which recorded 8, St. James 8, St. Catherine 5, Westmoreland 4, Kingston and St. Andrew 3, St. Mary 2, St. Thomas 2, Clarendon 1, Hanover 1, Portland 1, St. Elizabeth 1, and Trelawney 1. The deaths, which occurred between December 10 and December 12, 2021, included a male and a female, both aged 71. And another female who was 78. The deceased were from Kingston and St. Andrew. In the meantime, 40 more people recovered in the last 24 hours, bringing total recoveries to 63,491. Currently, 98 people are hospitalized, 10 of which are severely ill, while 6 are critically ill and 21 are moderately ill.
The government is exploring whether it should make COVID-19 vaccines mandatory for employees of infirmaries, except for those granted medical exemptions. According to local government minister Desmond McKenzie, any such move would be fueled by the need to protect the elderly, who are among those most vulnerable to the novel coronavirus. We have to consider the interest of that population because they are most vulnerable in the country, and we cannot expose them to any mortality, he told Thursday's monthly meeting of the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation. Over 87% of residents in infirmaries island-wide are vaccinated, while almost 75% of staff have already received the jab. During the meeting, the local government minister announced that between December 19 and January 2, fully vaccinated individuals who present a negative COVID-19 polymerase chain reaction (PCR) test up to 3 days before visitation will be permitted to visit loved ones who are residents of infirmaries. Only 3 people will be allowed during each resident's visit, and face-to-face sessions will last for half an hour. Requests must be made to the matron of the respective facility. The visits, Mackenzie said, would take place in therapeutic parks located outside infirmaries. While there are no therapeutic parks, the ministry will provide funding to create that area where the visit must take place, he said. He also repeated an earlier promise that an announcement could be made in January regarding infirmaries accepting new residents. We have a long list of Jamaicans who need to get into the system, and we will be examining the protocols. We will be looking to see what this new strain, Omicron, will do, and I am hoping that in early January I will be in a position to make the announcement. But I can assure the country that we are almost close to the point where we will now start to admit or accept new cases in our infirmaries, stated Mackenzie. For almost 2 years, infirmaries across the country have been placed under the tight restrictions with limited flow of traffic in and out of the facilities. To date, 19 deaths have been recorded in the island's 16 infirmaries and Golden Age homes combined. There are approximately 2,500 residents and staff island-wide. Turning to the issue of those living on the streets, Mackenzie said funds will be provided to ensure they receive meals 3 times per day during the Yuletide season. We will put in place where we have drop-in center facilities to allow them to go there and to get a bath and to ensure that during the Yuletide season they are not forgotten, he said.
The British government raised the country's official novel coronavirus threat level on Sunday, warning the rapid spread of the Omicron variant had pushed the UK into risky territory. The chief medical officers of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland said the emergence of the highly transmissible new strain adds additional and rapidly increasing risk to the public and healthcare services at a time when COVID-19 is already widespread. They recommended raising the alert level from 3 to 4 on a 5-point scale. The top level, 5, indicates authorities think the healthcare system is about to be overwhelmed. The doctor said early evidence shows Omicron is spreading much faster than the currently dominant Delta variant, and that vaccines offer less protection against it. British officials say Omicron is likely to replace Delta as the dominant strain in the UK within days. Data on severity will become clearer over the coming weeks, but hospitalizations from Omicron are already occurring, and these are likely to increase rapidly, they said. Prime Minister Boris Johnson was due to make a televised statement about Britain's coronavirus situation and the booster vaccination campaign on Sunday evening. Concerns about the new variant led Johnson's Conservative government to reintroduce restrictions that were lifted almost 6 months ago. Masks must be worn in most indoor settings. Vaccine certificates must be shown to enter nightclubs, and people are being urged to work from home if possible. Many scientists say that's unlikely to be enough, however, and are calling for tougher measures.
It is 20 minutes after 6 o'clock. Former Attorney General and Justice Minister A.J. Nicholson has accused the rival Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP, of derailing a united effort with his People's National Party, PNP, to achieve constitutional reform that would have led to Republican status for the country. pointing to Barbados going republic and a subsequent Jamaica Observer editorial on the issue, Nicholson wrote a lengthy piece chastising the now ruling JLP for backing away from such a pact after first agreeing. For recent evolutionary happenings in the island nation of Barbados have given rise to a welcome stir within the region. The Jamaica Observer editorial on Wednesday, December 1, wondered whether Jamaica would follow the course set by Barbados in completing the circle of independence by moving away from the monarchy to become a republic within the Commonwealth. Abandoning the British monarch as head of state is the most transformational constitutional change that can be contemplated under the Westminster system of government that has been adopted by both countries. The editorial, in its first sentence, emphasized the unified approach that was adopted by Barbados in the exercise. Constitutional reform is required to bear the stamp of manifest general unity and agreement evidenced, in particular by the cooperative approach taken to the initiative by the country's political parties. In every material particular, the authorities in the Barbadian society have been faithful to that essential prerequisite and in exemplary fashion. Unfortunately, there has not been the case in the Jamaican experience, hence the profound significance of the Observer editorial query. Recall that history strongly suggests that for the vast majority of Jamaicans, the life of their forebears here in the Caribbean began in Barbados. Situated as the land bridge between West Africa and the other Caribbean territories, it is said that Barbados was the first stop for slaves, who themselves or their descendants were thereafter shipped off to places like Jamaica and the southern states of America. And for the present generation of Jamaicans, Barbados has now provided the telling example of being a bridge from the British imperialism to full independence. The Observer editorial also intoned, "We are unclear as to whether Prime Minister Andrew Holness's comments at the JLP's National Conference that his government was intent on a review of the Constitution come next year was in any way affected by events in Barbados. Candidly, in Jamaica, we are also unclear as to the message that the Prime Minister intended to send by that announcement. By review, he certainly could not have been seeking to project an inquiry into the necessary areas of reform to the Constitution, for such a comprehensive exercise had been undertaken and the recommendations agreed by both parties in Gordon House over a quarter-century ago. Has Justice Minister Delroy Chuck not advised the Prime Minister that, in the early 1990s, a constitutional commission under the chairmanship of James Carr conducted island-wide consultations on the kinds of reform that the Jamaican people would wish to witness for improved provisions to the Independence Constitution? Holness should be alerted that the recommendations that were put forward in the report of that Carr Commission subsequently informed the deliberations and final report of a joint select committee of Parliament on Constitutional and Electoral Reform chaired by David Corr. The wide-ranging recommendations contained in that final report were presented to and approved by both Houses of Parliament without any demur coming from either side of the aisle, early in the extensive P.J. Patterson administration in 1995. That consensus position, which was cemented in Parliament, was a signal that the reform process was on in earnest, but it also soon proved to be the end of the essential political cooperation required for a successful outcome by following the kind of unified course set by Barbados. From the array of recommendations in the final report, there are perhaps 3 that would be most impactful in relation to the new system of government. The agreement for Jamaica to become a republic with its own indigenous president as head of state, for Jamaica to delink from the British Privy Council and to subscribe to a regional final court of appeal, and for a modernized fundamental rights chapter in the Constitution. An appropriate time for the holding of a referendum to satisfy the constitutional requirement for Jamaica to become a republic would have to be decided by mutual agreement after mechanisms had been agreed upon for how the president was to be chosen and for full explanation to the public of what the proposed change entailed. It is worth noting that the David Corr-chaired Joint Select Committee came to agree with the position of the JLP members, led by then-opposition leader Edward Siaga, that the non-executive presidency was to be preferred to the People's National Party proposal for the executive presidential system as obtains in the United States on the ground inter alia of the prohibitive expense that a change to the latter system would involve. And the article continues. 26 minutes after 6 o'clock.
And finally, Lady D, councillors in the parish have drawn the ire of Manchester Central Member of Parliament, MP Rhoda Crawford, over what she describes as their inadequate response to road rehabilitation. According to Crawford, road infrastructure development would take place at a much faster rate if the councillors were pulling their weight. If the councillors were paying more attention to their community roads and the roads that are within their jurisdiction, and they were working as hard or pushing as hard, if they would look outside and try seek funding from the private sector and some other groups like I have had to do, if they were doing half as much or pushing as much as I'm pushing, then the road infrastructure would improve at a much faster rate, said Crawford. The first-time MP said she has had to respond to fixing the parochial and main roads at various intervals using criteria such as the volume of traffic and the condition of the roads. What I've had to be doing in the short space of time is I've had to be doing a serious balancing act to try to spread whatever little resources I have. I have to spread it on NWA, that is the National Works Agency, corridors, and municipal corporation corridors, she added. The constituency is very big, and almost every community you go into, there is an urgent need for road repairs, but I'll continue to do my best. Work will continue this month and in January, she said. Crawford said $3 million has been allocated to rehabilitate the road from Belfield Square to Dayton. Road repairs are also slated for the Ingleside community, and $8 million has been awarded from the Jamaica Bauxite Institute for roadworks in Comfortland Settlement and Broadleaf.
It is 29 minutes after 6 o'clock. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to Keeping You in the Know with News Happenings and Facts. We acknowledge the presence of Yvette and Stewie Cuny. Welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Inside the Zone, the YouTube channel. With me, of course, as always on a Monday afternoon is Chris Wilby, CEO of Caribbean Vibes Radio Network. The telephone lines are now opened for discussion. 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. In addition to our headlines this afternoon, the segment Voices, the segment Community Life. Real stories of people's experiences, cultures, and concerns as we see them. Women and red flags in relationships. News reports of their deaths are more frequent. Why are they suffering in silence? How do you believe families and communities can intervene? And this is in keeping with the brazen school shooting in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, of a very young teacher a few days ago that stirred empathy in just about everyone who heard it. And I'll be airing a short clip of TVJ's newscast on December 7, centered around that murder, and we'll be having that discussion. Once again, our telephone number is 914-600-4228. Inside the Zone is brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. I invite you to support my sponsor. They are right on the corner of Wickham and Nereid Avenue. And on a Thursday, they have a jerk thing going on the opposite side of the street in its own space. Ask for your jerk, pork, fish, shrimp, you name it. 718-324-7484. 718-324-7484. And when you stop by, say, hey, I heard Lady D talking about Uno. I'm here. Right, Chris? You're coming over? Chris will be.
Money is the word.
Oh, Lordy, I tell you. So, Chris, a lot has been happening in the news, and the murder of the teacher. Again,
yes.
Another teacher we have lost. I'm about to air a quick 3-minute of TVJ's headline. And after that, I'll share why, I shared it with you, why I wanted to talk about this. Because there's something in the article through the Star that piqued my interest, which is why I thought, we need to talk about this. Welcome, everyone. Yeah. Let me, first, before I share that clip, do you have any comments on the headlines we read?
No, not necessarily.
All righty. So, good afternoon, everyone.
Now, the police are investigating the shooting death of a teacher at the Sandy Bank Basic School in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth. The incident happened in full view of her colleagues and students. Cordian Barrett has the details.
Students and teachers at the Sandy Bank Basic School in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, have been left shocked and traumatized following the shooting death of a teacher, 26-year-old Chanel Smith. It's reported that Miss Smith, who is from the community, arrived at the school about 7:50 a.m. Two men dressed in hooded sweaters and masks were parked at the gate pretending to repair their motorcycle. Eyewitnesses say one of the men pulled a firearm and shot Miss Smith as she approached the gate. The men then fled the scene. Her father is distraught.
This morning, the last thing she said to me, Daddy, pass me school shoes. She not even said Daddy, she said that. Pass me school shoes, you know. Right? I just imagine when she feel the first shot this man, she must have said to herself, said, Daddy, kill me now. And I think, God, is this real? Is this real? And the problem I'm having, Jamaica have no justice system to correct this problem.
The incident has also left the community puzzled, as the deceased teacher was not known to be involved in wrongdoing.
My angel and trouble people. So this just shocking. In a angry, in every kind of way, shocking. To be frank and to be truthful.
Everybody is just in shock. They keep saying they're in, like it's a fairy tale, and it's not real. I think they're still in shock. So they are seeking medical assistance at this time.
Ms. Smith has been working at the school since 2018. The institution is now closed until further notice. In the meantime, other stakeholders are condemning the brutal killing.
Please stop taking the life of our teachers. Stop harassing our teachers. When we kill our teachers, then what do we leave the nation to become? And I'm asking all who would have witnessed this gruesome act to pass on the information to the police so that justice can be served.
The police must leave no stones unturned in bringing these cowardly and vicious criminals to justice. So I'm appealing to anyone that has any information to please share it with the authorities. We cannot allow this act of cowardice to go unpunished.
In a release earlier today, Southwest St. Elizabeth MP Floyd Greed indicated that he has contacted the Early Childhood Commission to provide counseling services for the children and the teachers. The Ministry of Health and Wellness was also contacted to help in providing counseling for the family. Codianne Barrett, TVJ News.
There you have it. Many of you have read, you've heard about this death. And if you had not, then we have just presented it via headlines out of Jamaica to you, courtesy of TVJ, Television Jamaica. What an unfortunate and tragic situation. But what piqued my interest in the Star out of Jamaica, the paragraph reads, I remember one night the family was at home and we hear like rustling coming from upstairs. And me hear when me daughter say, leg on me throat, the distraught father said yesterday. When I go up there, I saw the guy and I said, what are you doing here in my house? He turned and asked me how you get in a this, and I told him to get out of my house or else. Smith said that after a heated exchange between himself and the man, the abusive partner left. The father said that he and his daughter reported the matter to the Treasure Beach police station. He told the Star that his daughter, a past student of Bethlehem Moravian College, suffered in silence for a while before opening up to him about what she was facing. He said that on one occasion, the ex-boyfriend went on to a school compound where his daughter worked, grabbed her by the throat and attempted to choke her. Them called me and I called the police. So the police went there and warned him, Smith said. And so, I just wanted to read that part of it. Now, Mr. Wilby and audience. And again, our telephone number is 914-600-4228. Most times when we hear people being murdered, the first thing come to mind, I wonder, is what them into. A lot of people, that's the first thing comes to mind. Welcome, caller. Hold your thought. One moment, please.
Sure.
The first thing comes to mind, I wonder if them into anything. And you've heard people who were interviewed saying, they're like angels, they don't do anything. The father had him, or some other interview said, is just from church to home, church to home. And it's so sad. It is so, so sad that her life was snuffed out like that. My thing is, many times, family, friend, and residents in a community know little bits and pieces of things that are going on. It's either one tell the other, or somebody might actually say something, but the matter is not addressed. We don't step into people's circumstances and experiences because we feel that we don't have the autonomy to do so, or they might just tell us where to step off, pretty much, that you shouldn't be telling me what to do. And there are a lot of preventative measures that can be taken, but for several variables, it's never addressed that way. Mr. Wilby, we acknowledge our first caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lady D and Chris. How are you both today?
Good, Pat.
Good afternoon, Pat.
Okay. First of all, let me say condolences to this young lady's family. It is just so sad. I'm just so torn up about it. But after listening to your report, it doesn't sound as if it's just a random killing. She must have known this person, this perpetrator who did what he did to her.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see we're living in an age now where domestic violence against women, there is domestic violence against men, but it's more so perpetrated towards women. And it is so sad the women are being killed. They're not even just being wounded, they are being shot blatantly. And I would love for the police to apprehend these two perpetrators, because look at the devastation that it has brought upon an entire school, the staff and the children. They don't even stop to think about the ramifications of their behavior.
Yes.
But I just want to, my input on domestic violence. There are so many women who are suffering in silence. As for me, I am a victim of domestic violence. And, it's very sad, especially when you're married. And if you have children, I'm about to get a little tear up.
No.
When you have children, you tend to stay in the relationship because you don't want your children to suffer. But you, the victim, you endure the abuse. It becomes emotional, physical, and psychological. And I just want to put it out there. Anyone who is experiencing any form of abuse, they need to get help. If you don't report it to the police, you need to go and get help. Lady D, in my situation, it got so bad, wherein, maybe I shouldn't put it out there on TV. I went and I got me a meat cleaver, and I sharpened it back and forth, and I knew what I was going to do with it. But when the spirit came to me and said, Pat, you got to put that down because you know what's going to happen. You're going to go to prison, and they're going to take your children away. So I called the police and told the police, get this person out of my house, and that was it. I never saw that man again until some years later when our first son passed away. So I can understand what this poor father is going through.
Yes.
The daughter could be involved with this individual, and she broke it off with him. And in his mind, he's saying, well, if I can't have you, nobody else is going to have you.
Yeah.
This is the contention with these, individuals. They don't want you, but they don't want nobody else to have you.
Yes.
But I just want to put it out there. It's just a sad, sad situation. And I just feel so bad for women now who are going through this kind of abuse. It's like a win-lose situation. It's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yes.
But thanks for bringing this to the forefront this evening. It's very, very important that we can talk about this.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mr.
Thanks,
Wilby,
Pat.
do you have a comment?
Yes, Lady D. First and foremost, I want to say I'm sorry that Pat had to go through
that.
all of that. But there are many different reasons, and she highlighted one of them, why women suffer in silence. And the main reason, as Pat says, is the children. A lot of women will stay in abusive relationship because of the children. There's also the social conditioning, where women are conditioned from early to submit to the unfair treatment and the violence. And they do this because they're repeatedly told that they have to, quote unquote, adjust in a marriage because marriage is for life. A lot of Christians, I've seen it, where a lot of Christians, they suffer and they stay in these marriages because they are told that marriage is for life and that the husband is akin to a God and that the woman is nothing without him. So there are many different reasons why why women stay in abusive relationship. Another one is lack of support group. As Pat says, there are many different support that is offered, but a lot of women, they don't know of these support groups, and so they will stay in these relationships. The divorce stigma, there are many different things. You know, a lot of women don't want that stigma to be attached to them as a person who was divorced, you know. So there are many different reasons why women suffer in silence.
Thank you for sharing that. In this particular case, here is a young woman, a teacher. And as we are getting older as young girls, we want to experience that personal encounter with the opposite sex. But our modus operandi is to treat you well, to make you feel comfortable, and to do all the things that we need to do so that the love component will come together. But when someone turns on you, and most times, you know, the person who is being abused takes it upon themselves not to share, not to disclose it to family, friend, anyone they know, because sometimes they're protecting the abuser. They're protecting them because once you disclose it, then you're going to have this thing pretty much, as we would say, bust out. We have 2 callers online. Good afternoon. Who is our first caller?
Eddie, good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead. Hold on, Ed. I heard another voice. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, welcome, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and your co-host. How are you all doing?
We're good, Ed.
Good afternoon, Ed. Lady D, can you grant me a favor? Can you return my call at the same number you're looking at after the program end?
Eddie. You know what, Eddie? I'm looking at several numbers here. Eddie F?
Yes.
I'm looking at several phone numbers here.
2142 ending.
Okay.
2142 ending.
All right, no problem.
Okay. Thanks in advance.
You're welcome, sir. Good afternoon. Welcome to Community Life. That's the segment we're in. Hello.
Good afternoon, Lady D.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
Not too bad. Good afternoon, Miss Wilby.
Hi, Gloria.
Yes, I wanted was to comment on the killing of the teacher there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is so sad. And good afternoon, Pat. As Sister Pat was saying, a lot of us suffer in silence. I had to run to I was being abused.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what it is, but I run for my life because I was going to do the killing another way from what Sister Pat had in mind.
Oh, Lord. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I decided at that point, but then I enjoyed my children after and I said, look at it, and the person has passed, the dad, and then I have them to myself, for myself. You know, it's very sad.
I'm sorry to hear that. There are so many.
Yes, I have been talking about it. I didn't say my method that I was going to use, but I had to run for my life. I had to run and leave the children.
Oh, Lord. Because Pat had mentioned it before, you know, so I was aware. But
I had mentioned mine too, but not to this extent. I said run, but I never spoke about my method that I was going to use. Because it's not nice. And yes, we stay in it because of the children, because I had left their dad and gone back because of the children.
Okay. And nothing changed.
So, ladies, beware when there are signs, and the children will live. Because my children are grown now.
Yes.
And their dad passed. So, if I had stayed in it, maybe I would have died, and they're still here.
Yes.
I left and I was crying and weeping and counseling and things like that. It's not easy because we want to protect our children, but we suffer in the end. So anyone who is going to abuse, I am telling them not to stay in it because it's not pretty.
Yes. We thank you for sharing, and we empathize.
And the first part of Mr. Wilby's, when he's reading, it's not clear. It's not coming over clear like before.
Okay, maybe there was a little glitch.
The last part is more clearer. So when he's going to come on, you got to, try and fix like how we used to, because a couple of weeks now it's not as clear, when he's reading as before.
All right, and he's coming over to
and get better, Mr. Wilby, and we love you. Stay well.
Chris.
Thank you. We don't want to lose you. We want to hear you every week with Lady D.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, thank you for calling. You are actually coming over clear on my end, Chris, so I'm not sure. But we thank Pat and Gloria for sharing. Again, I did say that
I appreciate that. Yes,
I've heard Pat share on this platform her experience before. But again, I go back to how this young woman's life was snuffed out when it could have been prevented. When it could have been prevented. Because,
Lady,
1 minute, Chris. The article that I read a few minutes ago, that reference was made to a previous relationship that he knew of. I mean, the young man actually was in his house. You figure? And then when they did go to the police, it's just like, a little warning. Warning he got. So, and then, it starts there. You think a little warning, if someone is actually in your father's house and believe he can harm you in your father's house, and your father is in the house.
It's right there. Yeah.
That's breach. That's a breach of protocol and respect and everything.
But he had the audacity to ask the father how him get into this.
How him get into it?
Yeah, the father.
No,
father
sir.
of the child.
Yes.
He's asking the father of the child how you get into this.
That kind of audacious kind of thing. So, again, many of us have stumbled along the way as we are building relationships, when we have encounters with people. But I would like to remind our women that you have to pay attention to how someone treats you. Though I spoke to someone and I said, listen, allow somebody to talk to you. Don't speak for them. Because sometimes we, with the nurturing trait that we have, we like to feel like we're taking care of them. They don't need to be taken care of, especially when you're dating them. They need to demonstrate to you who they are, and you look for the small signs. Because a lot of times women feel, I can help him along and he'll change, and something, especially if it's something that's staring you in the face. We don't need you that badly to the point where we put ourselves in harm's way, pretty much. And this was carefully orchestrated, her murder. She was supposed to come to foreign as well. She was supposed to travel. Yes. So sometimes when you see these kinds of killings,
it's control,
Chris.
It's control.
You know, they want to control you and control your movements.
Mm-hmm.
And when they can't do that, then they feel like as if they must do the ultimate.
Yes. We have to
Yeah,
pay
which is very,
attention,
very
man.
sad.
And you have to know when you're done with somebody. You need to look them in the face and say, I'm done. And stick to that. Because you hear what Gloria said, she had gone back. And the second time around, I gather, is far worse. Because they say, oh, you come back, you know. And they will be nice at first, and then they revert to their old way. Let's take a call.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Queen.
Yes, King, how are you?
Life is good. Evening, Sir Chris. Glad you're feeling much better. Evening, everyone. Lady D.
Yes, sir.
You know the sad part about these demons. I call them demons because my father was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They trap these women, and that's why I encourage young girls to go to school and get an education through the way of your parents. Because what a lot of these guys do, they buy their way into these things.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment they start react a certain way, and the young lady says, I agree you do this for me, but we can't continue with this, then that's when they start showing claim.
Mm-hmm.
Me, if I was that man, I wasn't going to ask him I wasn't even going to ask him one time to come out of my house. Because the moment I hear my daughter screaming to let go my throat, it's kill me, going to kill whosoever squeezing my daughter's throat. I won't even ask him to leave my house. They'll be dragging him out. You know, it is so sad that now the parents left to suffer this.
Yes.
Oh my God, what was going on? What I never see, what I never hear, what I could have done. All the guilt is left on that poor man now to find out what could I have done to save my daughter. Those are demon, Lady D, and I don't even know that those people still exist in Jamaica. My father was one of them. Didn't want my stepmother to go work.
Mm-hmm.
And that woman pushed and mashed her through the door one night to kill him and all that. She ended up drawing the gun one night to shoot him, and I begged God. I said, woman, shoot the damn man. Shoot the man. She threw down the gun and run outside. I don't believe in the violence, Lady D, and that thing from my experience that I am a vicious person when it comes down to women. Men beating on women. Lady D, extremely vicious, because I don't think no man should ever put their hand on any woman.
Yes, it's just wrong. Total disregard for who you are as a person. And you know,
go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, it was so calculated that they waited until she reached school, not even considering that the children are there, people are, moving about. Right there.
No respect at all.
None.
No
right there.
Respect.
Because,
no respect at all.
Because what happened, I suspect that he didn't actually do the killing himself. He contracted it out. And these guys,
yes.
These contract killers, they do not care. All they want to do is make sure that the job is done and they collect. They don't care where, how, when. They're just going to get the job done and collect. That's it.
I remember the woman who they went in the church and killed.
They're going to catch him. Yeah, if it's at the school gate, they're going to catch it. They're going to catch her. That's where they're going to catch her.
But Lady D, it's a worldwide thing. Until authority, government realize that, okay, we get up and kill out all the women. What we going to do? Who go forward? I think they protect dog, and then protect everything, and then protect forest, and then protect land, and then protect so much things. But the woman who is the nature of the world, who bring us all here, who give us prime minister, presidents, doctors, lawyers, police, firemen, woman is the factory of all of this, and nobody cares for them, it feels like. Nobody at all, authority have no care. Because if we men had any care, a lot of this would not be happening. It's too casual, Lady D, and I don't know when it's going to change in the world where men get punishment severely for putting your hand on a woman. Who dare you? Who are you?
Total disregard. Just
if you see somebody dog walking along the road and you put your hand on that dog, the cops are throwing in you jail so fast to hit a dog. Never mind, they come, beating a woman is nothing. Kicking a woman in the street, broken hip, broken this, nothing.
Yes. Well, I got
the world just had it so wrong.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Run
King.
along, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. It's now 7
All
o'clock.
right,
But
thank you very much.
I'm just gonna read a note that Andrea out of Barbados sent me. She says, I remember when I was in my 20s. A man called out to someone I passed regular. I didn't pay much attention, and he threatened to kill me. I ignored him, but it could have turned out otherwise. Men must know when women have a choice to choose who they want. Absolutely. But they don't like rejection. So that's another problem.
Yeah.
They don't like, some of them can't deal with that. But again, we wanted to address this topic because it is a global problem.
And it's
a demon.
It is constant.
And it is constant. And I'm hoping that, each time, and the women who are being abused, a lot of times they see the headlines, they watch the television, they're seeing it. And I don't know, in their psyche, they're saying tomorrow is going to be better. He won't hurt me tomorrow. And then tomorrow come and they get a walloping again. You know, that kind of thing. They are so suppressed into receiving from their abuser. They don't know where to escape until a near-death experience comes. So we empathize with the family in Jamaica and across the world where it is happening. And I hope that younger women who are having children, there's a breakdown. There's just a breakdown. We are not teaching our girls what to look for, how to control themselves, how to apply yourself to these kinds of things, what the do's and don'ts, how to value that. I can say to you, you are not up my street. I can't do you. But don't just do him because you want it to be said you have a boyfriend. Some of them weren't trained right. They're not raised right. And sometimes the way they treat you and speak to you, but you have a boyfriend. Talk to your children. Talk to your girls. It's about time we decide who is right for me and who is not right for me. And don't just take any little shallywag that comes. We gotta go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Chris Wilby, let's do the closeout.
All right, Lady D, thank you very much. Catch you next week, same time, same place. Appreciate it, you all. One love.
Blessings, Chris Wilby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez, the community platform where information is guaranteed. Center Stage comes up on Thursday. I should have some guests coming up on Thursday. I'm usually interviewing persons on a Thursday. And so we're ramping it up. It's Christmas now. We have to go talk about Christmas. This coming Saturday on Saturday morning, runnings at 10 a.m. Join me live on YouTube channel, Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez, and Lady D, Denise Gomez on my Facebook page with Maxine Lyons, a.k.a. Max Poet. Come, Max, now going to take me down another memory lane for Christmas, for our days when she never had no shoes, and it's live. So, like my page, Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez. Great content coming up for 2022. Thanks to Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. Thank you for keeping me here. Anyhow, you all don't hear me, I don't have nobody to sponsor me, so I have to go on my yard. So blessings, everyone. Thank you for being here with me and for participating this afternoon. And to Pat and Gloria, God bless you both. You bolted out of there, and we're so glad you're still here. A lot of love and blessings. As always, love yourselves, love your children, and remember, in everything you do, it is the will of God concerning your life. So I'm going to close out with some Christmas music. That's what I say. Blessings, everyone.
Stations within the year, but to this none can compare. Trying to figure what to think, because now with us you're fully linked. Stay linked to Linkage Radio, your home for entertainment.
This station rules the